really one of the very first things you need to do, once you start realizing that you're in trouble, you're not making the payments, is what's the goal? Do you want to stay or do you not want to stay? Now I know, conceptually it's like, well, yeah, of course I want to stay. It's my house. I like it. I think you need to be realistic about it. And the very first thing is, let's look at it just from a financial perspective. Can you stay? Can you afford to stay? Now I'm going to show you some very significant ways potentially to lower the payments. So maybe if we can lower the payments, maybe you'll stay. But sometimes it's just not realistic. If you've been working, making $75,000 a year, and then all of a sudden you're making $1,200 a month on Social Security or Social Security disability, then you know what? It probably is not realistic for you to keep the house that you were able to maintain at $75,000 a year. But that's something we're going to work through. But you need to be realistic about your options for staying long term based on the finances. In addition, you also need to say, do you want to stay there for non-financial reasons? Very often I have people who say, you know what, I hate the neighborhood, it doesn't work for me physically, the house has a lot of problems, it's going to require a lot of repairs that we're not willing to put into it. The kids are gone, it's too big, it takes up too much utility. There's any number of reasons that you may not want to stay in a house that have nothing to do with finances. So you need to think through both of those things, financial and non-financial. If after that very real, truthful analysis, you decide that you don't want to keep the house, the next question is, how long do you want to stay in the house, even if it may not be the long-term goal? Because maybe you don't want to stay, for forever, but maybe you want to stay a year. And if that's the case, we need to focus on foreclosure defense and doing everything we can to keep you there for that period of time. Maybe throwing in a bankruptcy at the end. But if you want to stay long-term, more than a year, then we really need to think about the other options, modifications, Chapter 13, including foreclosure defense to buy as much time as possible. So again, that's the very first thing I think you really need to do, is do a very truthful analysis of what your financial and non-financial ability and goals are for keeping or letting the house go. Once you've made that analysis and you know whether you want to keep it or let it go, long-term or short-term, then you have to find out, where are you in the process? We're going to look at that right now.